Living with Jonathan and Katy.
Welcome to Living with Jonathan and Katy.
I'm Katy French, and this mic is trying to silence me.
I'm Jonathan CERDA-ROWELL, and I just stabbed a pillow to death.
What did she do to you?
He slapped me, and therefore I terminated him.
Was it a feather pillow?
It was a feather pillow. Yeah, all aggressive pillows are men. Anyways, guys, today it is Women's History Month, Women's Appreciation
It's bitch month.
It's bitch month. Guys, it's slut month.
Yeah, it's International Slut Month. And today we want to like be more positive and just bring more feminine energy into the world. So today we're talking about all the women we love.
Yeah, we just love women. I mean, first of all, and I've said this before on other podcasts, if it was not for women, gay men would not work as much as they do in Hollywood. And they already don't work that much. But you would not see any gay men on any popular media if it was not for women casting them, women producing stuff, women giving them writing jobs, women letting them feature for them when they headline. Like, women give gay men jobs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it wasn't for gay men in Hollywood, all working women would look ugly.
That is true. Gay men we are like queens of the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know?
However, with the exception of the time that I let you do my makeup and it was a hate crime, which showed me how much you really truly do hate women. Honestly, I wouldn't care if like a sex tape came out or if like an early stand-up, like an embarrassing or like even controversial stand-up clip came out.
Yeah.
The photo you took of me when you did my makeup is the most horrifying thing that's ever happened to me.
Did I delete it or is this still on my Instagram?
No, it still exists in a number of people's phones.
Wait, but is it on my public Instagram or did I delete it?
No, I don't know. You didn't do it public.
Time?
Exactly. You've destroyed my face twice.
Here's the thing. It's because I was doing your face like you were a man who needed to get into drag, but I didn't realize like I don't need to cover up your eyebrows because your eyebrows are at the proportion that women's eyebrows are at.
Yes. I do have a strong, large jawline. That's true, but
I didn't do anything to your jawline. What
exactly.
I did is mostly to the eye. Yeah, I know. I accentuated the jawline and then...
No, as I tell people, you guys won't see the photo, but what he did to me was make me look like... He contoured me to look like Michael Jackson with my extra thin nose.
This was not my goal.
You made me pale, and you made me look like the love child of Michael Jackson and Jigsaw from the Saw franchise, that demon doll.
Girl, I didn't make you look pale. Jesus did that, okay? I just put on your natural skin color. It was everything else.
It was actually baby powder.
Yes,
that's how you set me my powder.
No, okay, here's the thing. But... now I think I could do your makeup in like a real woman way because I'm doing my makeup in terms of natural, and I would not even try to dragify you. I would just try to basically copy what you do for your face, basically, and just like try to make you look like presentable to like go out for like on a fun night.
Snatchural. That's how you would make me look.
Snatchural.
As
I would not
Scott
try
Barnes.
to block your brows or anything that I was doing anymore. But also, this was supposed to be about us appreciating women.
And I appreciate women who do my makeup
about how women are so good to gay men. But guess what? Guess who's not good to gay men? This woman.
This woman.
Yes. Because she criticizes a young makeup artist.
Just trying to make it.
Just
fresh off the bus, trying to make it.
Yes. I got off the bus here in New York City, a young prostitute looking for her dream makeup job.
That would explain your aesthetic.
Yes.
On my face. But let's talk about all the women we love and why we love them. And there's so many. We talked about this before, that our friendship, there's many women that meant a lot to us. Number one, Lauryn Hill. We have matching Lauryn Hill shirts.
Absolutely.
We went to her concert, didn't we?
5 years ago, Katy.
Oh my God.
We went in 2015.
That is crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. I had a buzz cut.
That is insane.
That sounds great. No, but honestly, Lauryn Hill's concert was amazing. And of course, we always knew Lauryn Hill was great. But going to her concert at the Greek, which by the way is the best place to see someone like Lauryn Hill because there's no bad seat.
Yeah.
We saw like she's not just an MC, she's not just a singer, she's like a consummate musician.
Yeah.
She like played Spanish flamenco guitar while rapping. Do you remember that?
Yes, and also my favorite part was that and I know that she's like known for being a little bit of a diva or whatever, and some people are like, that's perception. But my favorite part was that when her backup singers were starting the harmony for Doo Wop That Thing, she literally she was like motioning them like, give me more.
Yeah.
And then she literally, I think she sang and she goes, we're gonna start over if you don't give it to me.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's fine. Like Like, look, all
I
these
love her. I
superstars
still love her.
are all a little mentally ill. Every one of them,
Yeah.
the men especially. So it's like, whatever. What was funny is when we saw her pointing the silhouettes and everyone running back and forth.
Yeah.
And wait, did you just say that?
No, that was
okay.
her. No, but like the sound guys and stuff, she kept making them come out to like fix her monitors or something.
That was only at one point in the concert, but we could see their little shadows scurrying, like just hoping that she would kill them. It was hilarious. But then Nas came out, and then it was very funny because Nas was great, and then it was his birthday, and I guess like Lauren was just taking a break because she was up there for a long time. She did a lot of material, and Nas came out and. He did some of his stuff, but then he kept joking like, "Oh my God, let me do one more before Lauren comes out." Like it was all just like, let's see how much we could do before Lauren comes back. But she was honestly wonderful. She sounded great. She rapped wonderfully. She played wonderfully. She wrote most of those songs. Like, come on. And she had this like black girl, like a girl come on stage and dance to one of the songs she was playing, just giving someone like a chance to shine. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Also, I heard Nicki Minaj on Rue's podcast, and definitely like I like Nicki, but I also really identified with her because she like just for most of the podcast, Katy, it just came out today, I think. She talked about all the different Red Lobsters she worked at and got fired from.
Oh,
and I was
relatable
like,
content.
Yeah, so relatable. And I was like, of course she got fired because she's a superstar. And you know when people are just like natural stars, it's like they're meant to be bosses. They're not meant to be employees. So they're just going to get fired until they become a star.
And is that what you say to every boss when they fire you?
Yes, exactly.
Look, some people are not meant to be.
Look, I'm meant to be a star. And one day I hope to hire you and then fire you. I do hope to one day get so successful I can hire my enemies only to fire them.
You're like, and I don't need you or any Cold Stone Creamery around here.
Exactly. Who else?
We love her. We love Amy Winehouse.
We love Amy. And we got Nicki. We love Nicki.
Yes, we do. Who else? Who are you loving? What women are you loving right now?
Well, I do like the Dixie Chicks new song.
Yes,
they're
Dixie
still
Chicks.
So popular and they're so good. Their voices are all so great, and they did that song "Gaslighter," which I think that's all we can sing.
Yeah, we're cut off.
And but it's great because it's obviously meant for Trump. That's obviously what it's meant for. But it's wonderful because they really took like the biggest hit in terms of like just speaking their minds and then their
getting
career.
Canceled.
Yeah.
I was thinking about them today.
They got canceled for the wrong reason.
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about them today, like how insane that whole thing was, how hard that must have been, what a vicious, like, I'm sure it was really hard for Natalie because the sisters were like, why did you have to fucking say that and ruin our lives? You know?
Right.
And
but they stood with her.
They did because they kind of had no choice, but like.
But I do think they probably were on the same page as her because how could you work together if they were like...
No, they were. It was just like, but also nobody expected that level. And I still feel like, women in history who need justice. Dixie Chicks, Monica Lewinsky.
Mm-hmm. But also the Dixie Chicks, it actually helped them doing that because what it did is it actually narrowed down their fan base to people that they would want to be their fans. Because unfortunately in country music, it can be like half good people and then half like fucking racists. Mm-hmm. So it like narrowed down their fan base to people who were like, we love female and country music, but we also are not going to be like racist and anti-immigrant and pro-war and all that stuff. So now, because I just saw them play live on YouTube and they're like huge stadium that they sold out. So
that makes me happy because I thought that there was a few years where they were like legit like screwed, and probably they also probably had one of those like, you know, like 90s contracts where like you sell your soul to the devil and you get nothing for it. Like so many artists, like remember TLC was broke and like all these people, Salt and Pepper.
Yeah. Also moving on to another female musician who I love who didn't really pop off, but I think it's because of the evils of the music industry do you remember Amory?
No.
It's this one thing that got me tripping. I was so into that in like 09.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know that song.
Oh my God,
yes.
I listened to it this morning when I was putting on my botas, and it was so, I just love that song. And I wish we heard more from her. I think she signed one of those contracts like JoJo that got her bound in.
Yeah.
And I know she released like other records and she's like doing acting now, so she's fine, but that was such a hot track. That was great. And I still listen to it now and I'm like, this is going to be like one of those tracks that just like, you know, the Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love, like in my boyfriend, my lovely boyfriend. Remember that? Yeah. It's like been 40 years since that came out and that still sounds like it could have just been made yesterday. And I think It's This One Thing's gonna be like one of those tracks. So I love Anne-Marie.
I love, even though it's a hard time for the fandom right now because of her latest single, but Gaga, I mean, I love Gaga.
That's a terrible single,
but,
right?
Ouch, that one hurt for the community to have to endure.
Yeah. It was bad.
I love her so much, and I know that she can be like really off mark sometimes, but like when she tweeted, "Fame is a prison."
Yeah.
And then people were like, prison's prison, but
Right.
go ahead. But I love her so much, and I'm desperate. Hey guys, if any listeners out there have an in to her Vegas shows, you know, I will do anything, by which I mean very little, to get tickets for that.
And let's pray to Baphomet that Chromatica is good, because I hate the name. I hate that name.
I know.
I hate it. But you know what? We still support it. And to this day, always support Gaga because of one performance. She's performed great many, many times. I like a lot of her songs. But she performed Fashion on like the Muppets Live with RuPaul. And it is one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. And I watch it once a week.
That's your favorite Gaga performance?
Absolutely.
Wow. Mine is, I still think this is an iconic moment in pop history. People like, I feel like really slept on it or for whatever. But when she performed You and I at the VMAs and she was herself in drag. Do you remember this? She came out in full drag as a man and did a whole monologue before her thing about like dating Lady Gaga. And then she did her whole entire performance as a man. She also fell off the piano, which was my favorite part. It's incredible. People like, I was like, this is like if Britney Spears came out in like full, and I don't mean like female drag, I mean male drag, came out as a dude and did her whole thing, and like, I mean, come on. So that's my favorite Gaga performance of all time. But I do desperately want to see her, you know, God, we're just all praying for Chromatica.
I know.
I mean, it's just...
Say hello to the girl that I am. They always like, I think it is like someone trains you to speak that way. Like it's the Justin Timberlake, like, it's gonna be May. It's like you have to say like bae and like yam. You can't just say like am, you know? I am. Like it just doesn't sound good. You have to be like yam. Like that's the only way it sounds
Someone
good.
who makes me laugh is Meghan Trainor, because she and Ariana Grande are both white women who have started to sing and talk black.
And wait, so Meghan started to do that?
And I understand it's like Meghan's influences are a lot of, you know, like probably great black women, soul singers and stuff. But when people are like, Meghan, talk about your new album, she's like, man, it's like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, like, okay, girl. And Ariana Grande also has assumed that. But remember, lest we forget, remember when Christina Aguilera was speaking that way during her strip tour era when she had braids?
Yes, and also...
And so much tanner that she was doing brown face?
They were trying to also capitalize. So she was like talking black, right? But then
and Puerto Rican maybe?
Yes, it was like, I think she was...
Oh, she was dating that Latino guy.
You know what? I think I figured it out. She thought she was Dominican.
Yes.
She thought she was a black Latina. And it was very unsettling. And because she's like half Ecuadorian but wasn't raised that, I think they were trying to capitalize her in the Spanish language market.
Yes.
And she sang great in terms of like learning the songs phonetically and stuff because she's a great singer. But I guess she thought like, oh, I need to like look this one way. When of course I don't think they realized like the Spanish language media is some of the most like colorist.
Yeah.
So honestly, looking blonde hair, blue eyed, perfect for them, which is problematic. But she like did this, I don't know, I think it was with like Lil' Kim. She did like a double...
Can't Hold Us Down, a female empowerment anthem, which I love, but it was like set in like the Bronx.
Yes,
or
and
like
she
in New
put
York.
so much fake tanner, and she dyed her hair pitch black as my hair.
Yes,
and then she gave an interview, and she said this in it. I think it was like some radio interview, and she was like, maybe it was Ryan Seacrest, and she was like, I don't know, I think just like my Latin side just coming out. I'm like, girl, you dyed your hair and got a fake tan. Like, what the fuck?
That's like, literally me like twice a year. Just kidding.
But I do like Christina Aguilera, and also
I stand Christina.
I liked when she finally like was like washed off the fake tan and was like, look, I look white, and this is just how I look, and so now I'm gonna just be a pinup person. Like that was height Christina.
I know, she's never recovered.
No, she was never. You know what it is? Christina had the voice, but she was never able to develop her own style.
I think you're right.
And so she just kind of always took a route of like Madonna-ing, of like
she's like a half step behind whatever's cool and happening now, and it never quite registers.
No, especially because it takes more than just a really good voice to like have a successful music career, unfortunately. And I think if you do have a really good voice, you should actually be like a Celine Dion or an Adele, where they're just like, I'm the voice. I'm going to stand here in a gown and you're going to listen to me and it's going to be timeless, because otherwise you're just chasing trends.
Yeah. But I love her so much. And you know that she is, seriously, because I remember hearing Sia in an interview say that like she was in recording sessions with her, and that when Christina like opened her mouth to sing, that Sia was like, it's literally like hearing God. Like she's so incredible.
Yeah.
And I've always been like, man, I would just love to be in a room with just her doing an acoustic set.
Yeah.
But you know she's really good because Kobe's funeral had Beyonce and Christina are the two people who sang.
Yes, although Christina, I hate to criticize this, sorry to Kobe fans, she was singing Ave Maria, and that's not the song she should have been singing, because Christina has a great voice, but she doesn't have a classical voice, and that song requires like an operatic voice, so it didn't sound good. It actually sounded like there was something wrong with the mic, because she was going so high and so soft, you could kind of barely hear those high notes, and I was just like, could they have given her just another song to sing that she could have just killed, like another really cool song? But she's great. Another one, we have to go back to Amy.
She just starts singing Genie in a Bottle. She's like, I'm going to sing this so loud they can hear it in heaven.
Kobe, you are
Sorry, Kobe fans,
kind of like a genie in a bottle. No,
I will come up with any excuse to sing at your funeral, just so you know.
Oh, that's totally fine with me. You have permission to do that. Also, we have to go back to Amy because we kind of glided over her. Amy, she's coming up on 10 years that she's been dead. Next year will be 10 years. What an incredible talent. There is no other voice. And honestly, there's very, very few singers that have a voice that powerful and that unique, because some singers have a really powerful voice, but they kind of sound like maybe someone else, even though it's a good voice. No one sounded like Amy.
She also was like, like bubblegum, like pop, and like all these styles are like in. I'm going to do like her own funky thing, which also shout out to Mark Ronson, who was like a huge partner of hers.
And Nas helped her too.
Yes. And Mark Ronson somewhat lives in the neighborhood.
Oh, he sold his house. Oh my God, it's an awful house.
Damn it.
Oh my God, I saw it's still on realtor.com. He can't sell it because it's not great, and it's right on Los Feliz. Anyways, hot Ronson goss. But anyways,
who was like, when you were a teen, what was a female that meant a lot to you?
Nelly Furtado.
Okay.
I love Nelly Furtado. Well, because when I saw the I'm Like a Bird video, does she not look Mexican in that video?
Yeah.
She just looks Mexican.
Very Latina, yeah.
Yeah. But she's not. She's Portuguese, but from the Azores, which is like an island off the coast of North Africa. So I don't know. There's something going on there. But she just had, because that came out in 2001. So this is height Britney, height Christina, height boy band. She just had such a fresh sound in 2001. That like album cover of her laying in the grass, the I'm Like a Bird, the Turn Off the Light. It was just such a fresh sound where she like brought in Brazilian, Portuguese influences. She brought in like Asian stuff, Middle Eastern music. It was just kind of like, and it got an amazing review, and the album went like multi platinum. And I've loved her ever since. And now she kind of just, she had her third album went Loose, which is the one that Say It Right was on, which is a great song.
Yeah.
And then she did a few albums in like Spanish, and then like a folk album that was like okay, but those are her two big ones. And then she kind of just went away and raised her daughter, and I was like, I really love that. You know?
My favorite Nelly Furtado moment, again, it was probably VMAs. It was when her and Timbaland had the song Promiscuous.
Oh, that's my least favorite Nelly song.
It's the best VMA speech of all time, because they go up and they're just like, hey, I want to thank you. Hey, Tim, I want to thank you for, getting me on the track or whatever. And he's like, yeah. And then they both go to leave. And then Tim runs back to the mic and he goes, hey, y'all, and make sure to wear a condom. And it's like, obviously their PR person was like, your song is really bad influence on the youth. Like, go back out there and say something.
I know, yeah. Also, who was I?
Can I just say,
yes,
another VMA classic moment, Fiona Apple, who also means a lot to me.
Yes.
When she got her award and she was like, do you remember that speech?
No.
Was it, I don't know if it was VMAs or Grammys. She goes up and she goes, I just want to say this world is bullshit. She totally like dramatic monologued, and I was here for it.
That is very funny. Also, we would not have Billie without Fiona's aesthetic coming first, because Fiona was like the mother aesthetic to Billie. Not that Billie copied her in any way. Billie Eilish is very original, but there is like with having Fiona there as well as like Tori Amos and then Regina Spektor. It kind of Regina a little bit off to the left, but
I loved Regina.
But Tori and Fiona they created this like genre for heroin addicted white women to like make like very quiet music that's actually really good. I do like Billie a lot, but it's so weird. She's so young.
I know.
Like, we're talking about women, but it's like Billie is like child still. She's literally a child.
Yeah. But I love her for just like, we've talked about her aesthetic before, that she's like, no, I just wear sleeping bags. You don't get to like judge me. It's hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah.
I love her for that.
Although we do have to shout out, you know who was doing the oversized thing way before Billie, like 25 years before Billie? Missy Elliott.
Oh yes, shout out.
Now Missy Elliott is on another level of artistry in terms of her rap, her writing, and also
her visuals, her like Afrofuturistic videos. I was just at Rachel's house on Friday. You missed it. We were there and we were just watching music videos of like J-Lo and Missy Elliott, like that, all the 2000s ones.
Yeah.
And Missy's so great. And most importantly, women supporting women. Missy Elliott follows me on Twitter.
What?
Oh yeah. Did you know that?
Oh yes, I remember. This was this shook the comedy scene.
It was epic. I am in her top 13,000.
That is amazing.
Has she ever liked a tweet? No. Did I ask to dance front row in her music video? Did I tweet at her? Yes.
Did she like a tweet originally and then follow you, or she just followed you?
I just got a notification one day that was like, Missy Elliott follows you. And I was like, what? And I'm sure that what happened was like her intern put on some like auto follow app to like auto engage and garner followers.
Really?
But to this day, Missy Elliott still follows me on Twitter.
Maybe she's just, I could see Missy's too big to fave. You know, she's not going to fave a tweet. But I could see her scrolling through your tweets and thinking stuff was funny and then just like pressing follow, being like, this is the ultimate fave that I follow you. You know what I mean? I would love to think that. I don't. But Missy, if you're out there, I mean, let's collab. Well, you know what? L. Franken once followed me and then I had to block him.
Because he sexually harassed you.
Well, no, because he sexually harassed women. And I was like, well, I can't have him follow. Well, that, though, because he's a politician, was totally his intern. That was not Al Franken.
Hilarious. So, you know, he had a gay intern?
Oh, yeah. For sure. And it was like early on in comedy. So, you know, I was just tweeting about anal douching.
That's so funny. Yeah. What a power follow. But to this day, I mean, that's the only follower that matters. And I love her so much. I was thinking about back to high school. Tina Fey meant everything to me.
And you're kind of like the blonde Tina Fey. The first time I saw you back in like 2011 when I was 19, I was like, oh my God, she has like a Tina Fey aesthetic. And I thought you were so funny.
I think it's because I was wearing glasses at the time. And I also kind of had a blazer. Can I tell you?
No, but you're also not like...
No, I know. I take it as a compliment.
You seemed calm on stage and confident. And you didn't seem like you were going like... Not that there's anything wrong with what I'm about to do, but you weren't just like, oh... And then guys are just always like, oh, and it's like, what the hell, ladies? Like, you know what I mean? You weren't like that. You were just kind of like, the OC's racist, right? and everyone was like, yeah.
I loved her. I love Amy and Maya Rudolph. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Anna Gasteyer. Also, Sherry O'Terry is a queen. Like all the women of SNL.
Molly Shannon.
Remember
her in Superstar where she was like, they like dream about being in like a Fashion Vogue interview about being like, they go like supermodel documentary hour. And then it's like Molly doing a flawless like model British accent. And she's just like, it's like me, Christine, Naomi, you know, just like running out through the streets of Paris. And it's just like some of the most gorgeous girls in the world raising hell. Just total, utter insanity. And it's just hilarious. Like Molly just does so many characters, and she has the dream career because everyone knows who she is, but she's not so famous where it's like she's not like Beyonce famous or Nicki Minaj famous where it's like they just can't their lives are just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Molly can like do normal stuff, everyone knows who she is, and she just consistently works. I don't think she's ever been out of a job.
Her Julia Sweeney, shout out.
Julia Sweeney's album God Said Ha from 1997 was part of influencing me doing stand-up. I love the album because it's about how her brother died of cancer, her gay brother died of cancer, and it is so fucking funny and so sad at the same time. She was getting huge laughs on a regular basis while also talking about her brother dying of cancer because her whole family moved down from Washington into her house in West Hollywood, and the house was a 1-bedroom that she bought for herself with her SNL money.
Oh my God.
But of course she had to like let them because they were all like here, like how at Cedars-Sinai with her brother dying of cancer. And it was like her doing that made me realize you could talk about serious subjects and also be absolutely wickedly hilarious doing it. You know?
I love all those women so much. Like I was thinking of like who did I like when I was in high school who I looked up to, you know, and it was like I enjoyed 18s. Like and the 18s of course. I enjoyed like I loved Britney for like the pop fun, but like in terms of like women I just like adored like It was
my fucking pussy's hanging out.
Guys, see episode 1 for my Britney Spears impression. But
can you do it again, please?
I have to bleep it. She's like, y'all, my pussy's hanging out. Guys, again, don't listen to this. But yeah, I loved her so much. In college, I loved MIA.
Oh, MIA was amazing.
If you guys haven't seen her documentary, try to see it however you can. It's so freaking amazing.
Yes.
It is. She is so badass. She is like truly, I mean, not that like, you know, from what I understand, like Nicki Minaj, like she went to like performing arts high school and she was kind of like whatever. Like MIA is like, yeah, my dad was full on like running like guns and training us to be like counterculture.
Yeah.
Like, terrorist or not, however you say it.
Yeah, because she's from Sri Lanka and her dad and her uncles were part of the Tamil Tigers, right? So it's a rebel movement.
Yeah.
And then she became a refugee and like learned,
in London town.
Yeah, and then like learned English when she was 8 in England and
was like living in projects, which is where like a lot of Jamaican immigrants were, which is where she got her kind of dance hall sound.
Yes.
And all that stuff. And to this day, I mean, Paper Planes is like one of the best like pop songs of all time.
It's great. But I was the kid in junior high who was listening to Arular.
Oh, yes. I love her first album. Love it so much.
Okay. But do you remember before Paper Planes came out, when it was just Arular, it was like you were either a person, and I know I'm going to sound pretentious, but hey.
You either got it or you didn't.
You were either a person who knew who MIA was or you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then as soon as Paper Planes hit, it was like everyone fucking knew who she was.
No, I was on her first album too.
Yes.
And to be honest, it was like, probably like 07. So I'm like, how did I even find it? You know
No,
how
it was before that. It was 05 when it came out.
So I was like, how did I know? But God, I loved her so much.
I was just so excited because my sisters, they're the ones who introduced me to like 90s rap and hip hop. So it was always them introducing me to music. Like that was like cool. But of course they were like, yeah, we've been listening to this since like 94, bitch. Right. But MIA was like the first like rapper that was very different than normal rap. Right.
Yeah.
That I introduced them to that they liked as like adult women.
Ooh.
And then when Paper Planes hit, they were like, oh my God, you knew about someone before we did. And then they became a big hit. And then I got like major cool points because of that. And I was like 13. I was like, yeah.
I was like that with MIA and Amy, both of those. I had Amy's first album.
Frank.
And in fact, I bought Back to Black before it was released in the US. I had to pay like for an import version. I swear I paid like $45 for Back to Black.
We're such hipsters.
Still worth it.
We knew about it. No, I was actually a latecomer to Amy. Like I liked Amy during Back to Black. That's the first time I heard of her. But I really didn't become a diehard fan until the year she died.
What do you think she would be doing if she were alive? That's what I go, I can't even imagine like what...
I think she would honestly continue to make a really great like soul R&B music with different influences, and I think she'd be doing great, you know. Also, let's talk about I do have appreciation for Alanis and how fucking successful Jagged Little Pill was.
Crazy.
And also her new, have you seen her new single?
Reasons Why I Drink.
Oh my God. That is an amazing Alanis, and that is literally, and I clicked on it, and as soon as I heard her being like, reasons why I drink, I was like, that is the most Alanis thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
These are the reasons why I drink. I am fascinated by her. I think we've talked about this before, but like that she's like not sending her child to any sort of school. He's like being like free schooled, and she is very much, she like had a podcast for a while where she would like interview a lot of like naturopath kind of like experts or whatever. But she is, I do love her. And also, I mean, married to a white rapper.
What?
Mm-hmm. And I think his name is like Solai or something.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Let me see. What's his name?
That's so 90s. I don't think Alanis knows it's not the 90s anymore. A white rapper? Come on.
His name is Solai. Yeah.
That's absolutely devastating.
And he's like the Macklemore of...
Let's move on from Alanis.
Okay.
I was super into in high school Julieta Venegas.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, she's basically like this is the only person that I could kind of compare her to, but she's better than this person. She's like the Sarah Bareilles of Mexico.
Okay, cool.
But way before Sarah Bareilles. Now people did compare Julieta to Alanis. No, it's more poppy than that. And like growing up, like I loved her album "See," which was her in a wedding dress. And then I love, my favorite album of hers is Limón y Sal, and it's like her in front of like greenery, and she has like salt all over her hands, and she just like sings folky Mexican pop music, like lento. She sings Me Voy. She says Algo está cambiando. Like she sings a lot of just this like Mexican folk girl pop, basically. And she plays her own instruments. But as a boy who was like masquerading as straight, it was like very like gay, like tan gay to like be in high school and be listening. So it was Julieta Venegas. Unfortunately, she was the one who like I'd be walking through like one of the many 5 high schools I went to, and I would like turn down the music because I didn't want any of the other Latino boys to hear hear them like hear the music in my headphones of like Julieta Venegas going like que lástima pero adiós, like all that type of stuff, and but now I just blare it, you know. But I'll show her I'll show you some of her stuff. It's great. I just love her. I just think that she was also born in Long Beach, but to Mexican parents, but was raised in Tijuana, and then like crossed the border every day to go to high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she didn't actually obtain her Mexican citizenship until she was like in her 20s. But of course she's Mexican and grew up there. But everyone in Mexico and in pretty much the Latin American world knows who Julieta Venegas is. In fact, it was like a running joke on the recent season of La Casa de las Flores, which is that Netflix soap opera set in Mexico. And like they run like a drag bar, and one of the drag queens, you know, they all impersonate a woman, right?
Yeah.
As part of the show. So one of them does Shakira, one of them does J-Lo, one of them does Thalia, all the pop girls. And then one of them comes in and was like, I want to do Julieta Venegas. And they're like, you can't do that. She just like sits there with a guitar and like in a sundress. Like you can't,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like not a drag thing. So she did that, and like the running joke was that like every time she would go on, they would just like lose money, and then
because it's so boring.
It's so boring. It's like what's fun about that type of music is when they're is to see them sing and play.
Right.
But if you're like lip syncing to them and you're not really doing much, you just can't do that, you know. But Julieta, I absolutely love. Who do you love?
Right now you introduced me to Rosalia.
Oh, Rosalia.
Who we just can't even get. Guys, if you're not on the Rosalia train, on the Rosalia train.
Yo sentí como crujía. That's all we can sing. That was good.
Thank you. Thank
Flamenco.
you.
Flamenco is so hard to sing.
Flamenco, hip hop, pop, like amazing chick. She's popping off. She doesn't need our help, but you know, we love to support her.
Yeah, I love Rosalia.
I want to see her live.
Yes.
Best concert I ever went to, I got to see Adele, like floor seats.
Whoa.
She was like feet from us, and she was so great, and so it felt like you were with your girlfriends singing Adele karaoke. Wow. Like literally when she sang Someone Like You, she like, came out to the like top of the to the like catwalk or whatever. Yeah. We were all running over. She's like in this like black thing. She's like touching people's hands. She like talks between. I like when artists talk between songs. I hate when they go on and they're just like, thank you for coming, and then they play their whole album and they go, have a good night. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, we went bowling, yeah? Like
no, but isn't it?
She's like, oh, there's so many people. That was not her at all. I don't know what that actually
But I have heard from like my boyfriend that some people, I don't know if he's seen Adele live, but that like she would talk so much, people would be like, okay, next song,
people
girl.
were annoyed, but I love it. I mean, it's like, you know, that's what you want. But it was so great when she was singing Someone Like You. We were all like, she was having as much fun as anybody else. And you know how some artists are like, please don't sing along with me? Yeah. Ani DeFranco's kind of like that. Yeah. Like she's like, they're my songs, not yours. But Adele was just putting the like mic to us and everything. And it was just like so freaking fun. Yeah. And I loved her too because she isn't a dance you know, she really was just like, I stand here and I sing. Yeah. And I talk about my son.
Talk about my son. I also, who else? Oh, I want to throw it back. Yeah. And I want to do a shout out to a Miss Ima Sumac. Do you know any Ima Sumac?
I don't really. I know the name, but I don't really know the
Peruvian exotica extraordinaire. Okay. She took over the world in the 50s and 40s. Ooh. And she's from Peru. That's her stage name, Ima Sumac. She has a much more traditional name. I don't remember what her true name is, but the world knows her as Ima Sumac. And she's just this like a lady from Peru who was known for her like soprano voice, and people would it's so unique that her draw at the time was that people needed to go see her live because they would bill her as like divine and like unhuman in terms of her voice, because her soprano was so amazing, and she sang in a mixture of Spanish and Quechua and English, right? And so she of course created this fake mysticism and myth around her, which was so smart, like business wise, that she was the descendant of a Quechua princess.
Oh, nice.
In Peru. And of course, she wasn't an indigenous Peruvian woman. She was mestiza, so she's like indigenous in Spanish. But of course, that like blew up. She was known for wearing these intricate, humongous gowns, like McQueen level gowns.
Like quinceañera level?
Oh, more than like her gowns now would be haute couture, like high fashion. You could barely walk in gowns, right? And standing there and singing, and then like doing a lot of top movement, like rib cage movement, because that's all she can move. But her gowns were so beautiful that was part of the attraction too, as well as her voice. And she loved to experiment with her voice and sound like witchy and monstrous, and then go up into like an and I played her for you and Chris, and you guys absolutely didn't like her and turned her off. But yeah, I played Babalu for you. But her probably people know her best if you're not into like Spanish language exotica. From the lip sync between Jinx Monsoon and Detox in season 5. I think it was Bo Mambo or Mambo number 5.
Oh, yeah.
That was the song that they lip synced to, which was hard because most of it's in English, but some of it's in Spanish, and like neither of those white girls could speak Spanish. And it's the song that Detox got eliminated on, which was great because Ema was a weirdo and Jinx is a weirdo. So it was great that Jinx won the lip sync. But because I guarantee you Jinx knew who Ema was because she's such a weirdo. You definitely know. But Ema gives me nostalgia because I listened to nothing but Ema in my first year of stand-up, and I would drive around in my friend Lydia's Cadillac and go to different mics with her, and we would just blare Ema Sumac and then go back to my parents' house and drink beer in the backyard. And that was my first year of stand-up.
Oh, that's cute.
I know.
I love.
Yeah, and Lydia's bit was to put on a beard on stage and take out her flute and then pretend to jack off her flute. So she stopped doing stand-up, but I am still here.
Still standing, still strong.
Standing, yeah.
Speaking of stand-ups, I want to shout out Elaine Boozler, who is an iconic female stand-up. She's like, from the 80s, she was like Andy Kaufman's girlfriend, which is not her credit. She's so viciously funny and still around. I want to see her like live, but she's like an OG and was like, did not hide being feminine, but wasn't like hacky about it. Like just, and like at the boom of like 70s, 80s, 90s, like stand-up comedy. So just shout out to her and Maria Bamford, of course.
Oh, yes.
As stand-up influences.
Yes. What about Angela Bassett?
Yes. I mean, just for...
What's Love Got to Do with It?
What an iconic, you know.
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes from American Horror Story season 3, she goes, "That's good hair, but that's a wig." And I was like, oh my God. So now me and my boyfriend say that about everyone that is obviously wearing a wig.
I was trying to think of like who, okay, like, I also just the writer Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which everybody gives a shit for, but she's like an incredible, very inspiring, kind of self-helpy person, and I love her. And then that she's very much about like, do not be bound to like what you think you're supposed to do as a woman, and not in this like we're braver and powerful. Like no, she's literally like, you don't want kids, you don't have kids. Your marriage isn't working out, you leave it and you go to Italy and eat pizza. And I just love that message.
Amazing.
And yeah, she's like one of my queens. Also Queen Elizabeth, the original. Yeah. Shout out to her.
Speaking of Eat, Pray, Love, Viola Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Who is so underused in so many movies. She's such a, like, it's so unfair. Like, that scene in Eat, Pray, Love where, like, Julia Roberts, like, kind of disrespects Viola Davis. And I'm like, Julia, I like you, but you need to get out. You need to get the fuck out. And then
go watch Get Out and school yourself about.
Well, it's just like Viola Davis is too good for most of the parts that she's getting because she gets supporting parts, but she's a magnificent actress. And hearing about her story, how she grew up on a former plantation and was so poor, sometimes after school in junior high, she would like get dirty pizza from the trash. And her first gig on Broadway, where she was like a supporting character, she felt like she had made it. And it was like, she's someone who, when you talk about paying dues, that woman had talent from the jump.
Yeah.
and paid so much dues. Actually, Kathy Griffin in her book, shout out to Kathy Griffin, love Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
Talked about Viola Davis. So Kathy Griffin used to get hired to do these readings for like big films. And of course they don't hire the actors who do the readings. Viola Davis was one of the readers for like some of the biggest films. And they were just using her as a reader.
Wow.
Can you fucking believe that?
I love her.
Yeah.
I mean, I love side note, just because I was listening to her podcast too, Oprah. Well, because you're talking about like growing up poor, and also like the level of trauma that Oprah has had and what she's done with it, and like talked about public, is just, people give her shit, and I'm like, dude, she was like sexually abused and had a baby who died when she was like 14.
Yeah.
Like, people don't know, like it was crazy. And what she's done and her power, like she's an incredibly powerful woman. Those are women I'm like increasingly attracted to and interested in, is women who are like, not just like sit in positions of power, like, oh, I'm a, you know, CEO of a board, but like women who have a very just powerful spirit.
Yeah.
And kind of like are very headstrong or very just very inspiring, and have a very strong, she just seems to have a very strong sense of like knowing who she is, and it's very unbreakable. And I'm so inspired by that. And honestly, I was thinking the other day, I was like, just like when Kobe died or whatever, I was like, oh my God, like Oprah's gonna die and Beyonce's gonna die. And those are like two very powerful like females who I was like, I don't want to live in a world without, it's dumb, but it's
weird.
just that we want our leaders and our like inspiration, you know, especially
our cultural figures. Yeah.
I'm like, we kind of talked about it, I feel like in our last episode with Robin, but I'm very overall the messaging of like, you can do it too, girlfriend, even though you're like a little, like, it's just, I'm kind of tired of it. It seems a little bit infantilizing and like condescending. So I just like women who are just doing their thing and not like, sure, it's an issue, but they're just like, so what? I'm still going to do it. I respect to Issa Rae too. I was thinking about her in terms of like content creating and just like, I'm going to make the web series I want and it's going to do great. And now I'm going to be like a beast of a like powerhouse producer and everything.
Issa Rae is absolutely kind of like every young writer, comedian, actress's like model, someone who's definitely marginalized. Success story. Like, you want to be like, oh my God, I want a career like Issa Rae. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, Anna May Wong, the first Asian American star in Hollywood, 4th generation Chinese American back in the 20s, grew up near Olvera Street, blocks away from it. She never got her due. She lost out parts to white actresses all the time, even when the role called for an Asian actress. People like played Asian parts in Yellowface, and she lost out to them. But she was one of the earliest like pioneers of the independent film movement, because it was an independent film where she could be more than just the seductress Asian temptress or the dragon lady. Yeah. So it was in indie films here, the early American indie films, that she did some of her best work. And then because even though she was 4th generation Chinese American, she went to the Chinese school in Chinatown. And so she spoke fluent Chinese, so she was able to become like a huge star in Asia, and people didn't in Asia know the concept of like Asian American. So she truly was like one of the first Asian American international movie stars. And she like died super young in Santa Monica when she was like in her 50s. It is like really sad. She had like a heart problem or something. But her career, like, look her up. Most people forgot about her because her heyday was like 20s, 30s, but she is truly like, she's an OG person. Also, Frida Kahlo. I do have to say that, because even though she's so mentioned, Frida Kahlo, like, growing up as like a queer Mexican person, when you see like this like bisexual hairy woman who painted herself and like put monkeys in her paintings to stand for like a sexuality with other women, and you just hear about her freewheeling life in like 1920s Mexico, like, you're just kind of like, oh my God,
like, who is this bitch?
Well,
like,
yeah, but
truly.
she gave depth to Mexican and Latino culture that I think before was much more saturated by just machismo. Yeah. She gave a feminine strength to it. And she loved to paint indigenous women. Speaking of indigenous women, Lila Downs, look up her singing Fallaste Corazón. Makes me cry every time. She's half Mixtec. And Yalitza Aparicio from Roma.
Oh, Yalitza.
Who had to endure all those fucking fresa novela actors complaining that she got an Oscar nomination. Total
little assholes. I'm looking up her name because I don't want to just like say this. I truly want to find her name. Do you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No, not my
that's
thing.
okay. Season 4, there's like a plot line that's set in like Chinatown, and there's an Asian actress on there who is so good. I love her character. It's like such a kind of like subversion. Like in no way is it stereotypical. She plays it so well. And I truly want to look up her name right now because she deserves it. And I even was like, sometimes I want to like tweet at people, but I don't want to be like weird or seem like I'm being like, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see here.
Oh, while you're doing that, also, let's just quickly mention AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, yeah. Stephanie HSU. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's probably like Shu or something. I don't know. That's her name. Stephanie.
What's the last name?
HSU.
HSU. Uh-huh. Is it Sue? Like just maybe I don't know.
In whatever the pronunciation is. She's freaking awesome. She
gave a good performance.
She's so great. Yeah, she's like notably good, and that also is attributed to good writing too for that when creating that character. But she's really, really nice. I'm trying to think of other
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
She came into our life.
Yeah,
and also for someone who's not fluent in Spanish, learning enough Spanish to help people who like remember that like televised trial where she was speaking in Spanish to the woman whose child died in the border. And it's like this girl just not being afraid of being criticized for not knowing Spanish and really just like getting in there and also getting elected and really running a grassroots campaign where she was standing at like train stations in Queens, handing out flyers. Like that is someone who truly is anti-establishment and still rose up the ranks. Like it is absolutely.
I love her.
When you hear about her story, it's crazy because most of these people who start grassroots, they don't get elected. It's very hard, you know?
She's also, it's like, she's our age.
Yes.
She's like our generation.
Bartender.
She's so wonderful.
Customer service person.
As my boyfriend said, she's so pretty and not even just politician pretty.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
And it's always what matters.
Yeah.
She loves a red lip. She does a style like, no, she is really like young women like that are just so, like what a godsend. Also because God bless them, like the amount of hate you have to like endure is so unfreaking real that like you kind of just it's like you are like called to battle, you know? You're like, I didn't choose this, but I guess this is like what my life is now because every part of your life is like under scrutiny. Also, the woman who like came forward about Brett Kavanaugh, doctor, again, I forget her name. God bless her. I literally wrote you could send like cards of encouragement to her. And they were like at an undisclosed whatever location. I want to like look up her name too because
she should be mentioned.
Yeah. Christine Blasey Ford, shout out for what you did. And it's that thing too where you're like, is this worth it? Like, why would I do that? You know? But I mean, my God bless. And also Elizabeth Warren, I know people have all these feelings. When she took down Bloomberg, I mean, that was like delicious.
And also
in that debate, whatever you care about, like you cannot say that was not fucking badass.
Yes. And also, I didn't vote for Elizabeth Warren. I have my reservations about her, but it is true. If she were a man, she would have collected more delegates. And also just know that when you look at the delegates, Bloomberg has 41 and she has 40. But remember, she actually had 61. But because she didn't qualify for some bullshit, all those bullshit rules, they actually took 21 of her delegates and redistributed it to the other candidates, including Bloomberg. So just know she actually got 61 and he got 41. So just know that it was a weird distribution thing. So she got more than it let on. I hope she endorses Bernie, but either way, I think we're going to see a lot of like good stuff from her.
Yeah. Also, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Shout out to Gloria Steinem.
Stacey Abrams from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Stacey Abrams, who is my dream ticket to actually run with Bernie, but I know that there's no way that's going to happen because she's way too far left. But that is Jonathan CERDA-ROWELL's dream ticket. Is a Stacey Abrams, Bernie Sanders ticket.
And mine is Bernie Sanders, Trixie Mattel.
Also shout out to India Moore because I just cannot get enough of her in posts. Her performances are so good.
She's so pretty. It's like painful.
Yes.
Some women you're just like, oh my God, she does not have a bad angle. She's so effortlessly beautiful. She's one of those girls like puts like a no makeup selfie when she's like, on vacation and wherever. And it's like, bitch.
And also my absolute fave, La China Más Latina, Gia Gunn. Spanish-speaking, Japanese-American Gina Gunn. And she's absolutely so talented. And just my favorite thing about her is how rebellious she is. And just her quote from the most recent All-Stars, I think it was, well,
what you think you're going to do?
No,
what was it?
what you want to do isn't necessarily what you're gonna do. Which literally before she said it, Katy, I had already thought it. Which shows how fucking rebellious and petty and anti-establishment she is. But honestly, as a trans woman, especially in drag, it's like, it makes sense that you're like that you don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. I watched her on The Switch, which is a Chilean drag show. She's speaking fluent Spanish, reading the judges because they had critiques for her performance, and she came in on an elephant. And she was literally critiquing them in Spanish.
That's how I will be coming into my stand-up special. I never thought of an elephant entrance.
It was absolutely amazing.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Can we shout out some queer women who are like, I mean, just because this song's been on my rotation, Melissa Etheridge, loving
Come to My Window.
No, but I'm the only one to walk across the fire with you. That was a banger. Katie Tunstall, she was the big black horse in the cherry tree. She was I think she's
Tracy
queer.
Chapman.
Tracy Chapman. Oh yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
What is it? Is it you got a fast car. I got a ticket to anywhere.
If you want Katy drunk and crying, just put on Fast Car. I'm trying to think of other. Of course, I mean, we talked about Margaret Cho.
Oh, Margaret Cho's amazing. We'll always talk about Margaret Cho because she's like she's the biggest comedic influence for me. The biggest.
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman. I love Sarah Silverman. And also shout out to Kathy Griffin holding up Donald Trump's head. Very proud of you for that, honestly. I'm another
person, the level of hate I cannot believe, and like it will go down in history of how targeted she was. Like unfucking real.
When I first saw it, I went cute and just kept scrolling. I didn't think anything of it.
You didn't plan her death?
No, I thought she had said much more like risky things in her stand-up than that fucking
she is one. I have. I can say this because I am a woman. As a woman who's sat in many people's stand-up special tapings, including yours, I have been to I've been in the audience, gotten airplay, I guess, in yours, out on stage, in Kathy Griffin's special.
Really?
She shot it at a Pechanga casino, like maybe like 7, 8, 9 years ago, and other such things and specials. But I love her. Spice Girls. Shout out to Spice Girls.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, I'm going to think of a million more.
I think we should actually end on just Michelle Obama.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
She didn't ask for this.
She did not ask for any of this.
I don't think she ever wanted this.
She didn't. She full on told him. She even told her, if you guys don't know, this is what I didn't know this.
Yes.
She has the #1 selling memoir of all time, more than his.
Good
for her. She is such a freaking... I heard her on Oprah. I listened to her autobiography, but I also heard her on Oprah's recent podcast. She's on there like twice a year.
She's a self-made woman.
She's
attorney.
Incredibly also he was her intern. She is like,
what?
Yes, that's how they met.
Oh my God.
He was her intern,
so fucking
her like
hot.
little summer associate intern at the law firm.
That's so fucking hot.
And she is so amazing, so dignified, so stylish, so like, I love to see a woman who's like aging gracefully and is like getting more and more powerful and like is so sexy and like hot. And I love that
she probably bossed him around and he was eager because he was ambitious, but he was cute and tall, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And he respected her and was like, yeah, I'll do that. And she's like, and then do this and then do that. And then he did it and she was probably like, That is so hot.
I went to Chicago with Crystal Adams. Shout out to episode 8, 9. And we went to the South Side because we were like, we just wanted that Obama energy, you know? And we were like, whatever we did, we like got out and we were just like, we just feel it around. Like, we were like, oh, I wonder where they are. And we full on, literally, we were like on a street corner and we were like, God, do you think they're around? And then we like look down and there's a plaque and it says, this is where Michelle and Obama had their first date at this Baskin Robbins. And it's like, it's so cute. It's this like little like stone plaque and it's in front of the Baskin Robbins on this little corner.
Yeah.
And we literally were like, saw it and we were just like squealing to each other. But I think you're so right. She is like the woman you want to be. She's so like reasonable and dignified. And he is too. And I also like that they have like, their dom sub relationship. No. But I like that they're very like seemingly passionate and in love with each other. And that is something like, I mean, I can't imagine any other president having sex ever other than I guess Clinton.
But I can imagine them.
Because they're like so uptight.
Yes.
But they are just so freaking great. And like, God, I just love her. Those boots.
And she doesn't want to be president, and that is the reason, one of the many reasons why she would be the perfect president. It's a weird catch-22 because she doesn't want absolute power. Yeah. She wants to actually genuinely do good in the world, and that's why she would be the perfect president. It's like only in a dream world would Michelle Obama be president. And I hope that world comes true. They
also said, like in her book, she said that two things, that every time he ran an election, he was like, this is my last. She was always like, this is your last one. This, because it like the toll it takes. Yes. And then with president, he was like, can I run for president? Like basically was like, he needed her blessing. And
imagine the look she gave him.
I know.
I turned to stone.
And she literally said, I said yes because I knew he would never be president because he's black. And then she was like, son of a bitch. Because she hated it, like the toll it took on the family. And like they really did sacrifice so much. I love that. And then she also...
And post-presidency, Michelle is the best Michelle because she out of that position, she was able to actually be a little bit more herself.
Yeah.
Because you're so bound by the office.
Yeah. And she can be a little bit sassier. But also, I just love that she also made intentional things. Like even in her fashion, people are obsessed with that. But it's like, she would literally wear like a Target shirt one day, J. Crew the next, like a designer like Christian Siriano.
Yes.
Like she would cycle through. She had great style. She's just so like elegant and stylish. But Michelle Obama, we love you so much and what you've done.
And on that note, this was just been a gush fest, hostful episode.
Yes. Tell a woman in your life that you love her and tell her why.
And we'll have more women guests later on. Listen to next week's episode, and we love you guys so much.
Living with Jonathan and Katy.